The bank statement was in my hand. My brother was missing. And I had no way to explain where $27,000 of my husband's money had gone. My name is Rachel. I married Ben 6 years ago, and we live what most people would call a peaceful life. We're not rich, but we're comfortable. Ben runs a hardware business with his dad. I work part-time at a dental office. We own our home. We have one car and no kids, just plans. Someday. But there's one part of my life that's never been simple. My younger brother, Jamie. Jamie was always the sweet one. The kind of kid who made every teacher smile. Everyone called him bright, gifted, full of potential. Our parents died when I was 22 and Jamie was only 14. After that, I became his everything. Guardian, cheerleader, second mom. I gave up grad school, took on extra shifts, missed out on vacations and weekends. Because Jamie came first, and I never complained. Until the day I realized I didn't know who he'd become. It started innocently. Jamie had just gotten into a private art institute, his dream. But tuition was outrageous. He said, "It's only for one semester, Rach. I swear I'll pay it back. I just need help to start." Ben and I had just paid off a small loan. There wasn't enough in our joint account for a tuition bill. But there was a business savings account Ben rarely checked. I told myself it was a loan, a temporary one, something Jamie would never abuse. That night, while Ben was asleep, I logged into the online portal. I moved $3,500 into Jamie's account. I didn't tell Ben, and I didn't tell myself it was theft. I told myself it was love. The next morning, Jamie texted me just 2 words. "Got it?" And then, "You won't regret this." But that wasn't the end, because 2 weeks later, he asked for more. "Rach, the school added a materials fee. I'm short again, just one more time." I hesitated, but I transferred another $2,000, then $1,500, then $800. Each time he asked, he had a new excuse. Art supplies, rent, a tablet, food. I started keeping a spreadsheet on my phone. Every cent I moved, every promise he made. $3,500 became $8,200, then $11,900, and Ben never noticed. Ben's only comment came one afternoon. "We've been using more from savings than I thought. Everything okay?" I smiled, lied. "Just some stuff for my brother. I'll pay it back, it's temporary." He nodded. "I trust you." That sentence burned, because he did trust me completely, and I was abusing that trust one click at a time. Then Jamie stopped texting. He didn't answer calls. When he did, he was short, rushed, busy with projects, swamped with finals. "I'm fine, Rach. You worry too much." Then one night I called the Art Institute, told them I was Jamie's sister helping with tuition. The woman on the phone sounded confused. "We have no student by that name currently enrolled." I froze. "What? Are you sure he's attending this semester?" "Yes, I helped him pay for it." "There's no record of him here, ma'am. He might have deferred or withdrawn." That night I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, wondering if I'd been conned by my own brother. I tried calling again. No answer. I called one of his friends. She hadn't seen him in over a month. I finally drove to the apartment he was supposedly renting. There was a handwritten sign on the door. "Evicted. Failure to pay." Inside the mailbox was a final notice from the landlord. "Past due, 3 months, no forwarding address." I went back through the transfers. My stomach dropped. The total? $27,150 gone, and I had nothing to show for it. No proof of I opened the bathroom cabinet and found the needle. It wasn't mine. It wasn't Ben's. That's when I knew Jamie had been here. After I found the eviction notice, I still tried to hold on to hope. Maybe the school made a mistake. Maybe Jamie had a breakdown. Maybe he was too ashamed to face me. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't lying. But deep down, I knew I wasn't dealing with a misunderstanding. I checked Jamie's social media. The last photo he posted was over a month ago, just a blurry picture of a drink, a cigarette, and some vague caption like, "Only God can judge me." The comments below it were strange. "You good, bro? Call me seriously on don't do anything stupid. No pictures of the art school, no new drawings, just silence." That night, I told Ben a partial truth. I gave Jamie some money. I think he lied about what it was for. He looked concerned, but not angry. "How much?" "A few thousand." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I was embarrassed. I thought he was still in school. I thought I was helping." He exhaled hard. "Well, he's your brother. We'll figure it out." He said we, and I wanted to cry. Because if he knew the truth, he'd never use that word again. 2 days later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Hey, it's me." It was Jamie. His voice was raspy, slow. I asked him where he was. "Couch surfing. I'll be fine." "You lied to me. I gave you everything I had." "No, Rach. You gave me everything Ben had." That sentence landed like a slap. "What did you use it for?" Silence. "Jamie, I'll pay it back. I swear." Then the line went dead. The next morning, I got a knock on my door. It was our neighbor, Mrs. Harlan. She looked worried. "Rachel, I didn't want to intrude, but your brother was outside last night." "Outside?" He looked off, pale. "He was in your backyard, peeking through the kitchen window. I almost called the police." I froze. Jamie had been here. I walked through the house slowly. Nothing seemed missing. Then I checked the bathroom cabinet, and there it was, a capped syringe hidden behind the cotton balls. I stared at it, shaking. I didn't want to believe it, but there it was, in cold plastic and silence. Proof. I started to crumble. Every dollar I stole from Ben, every lie I told, all of it led here, to the brother I once protected, now slipping into something I didn't recognize. And I had no idea how to fix it. That night I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator, just a day's worth of surveillance, to confirm if Jamie was using or selling. I didn't tell Ben. I just took out $400 more from the same business account. I was already drowning. What was one more lie? 2 days later, the PI called. We followed him to a rundown apartment complex on the east side. He was there for 20 minutes. Doing what? We got photos. He walked in empty-handed, walked out with a backpack. And he exchanged something on the corner, small packet, cash in hand. My heart dropped. That night, Jamie called again. "You spying on me now, Rachel? What happened to you? You were supposed to make something of yourself." "Maybe I was never meant to, okay? You used me. I needed it." "For what? Needles? Pills?" Silence. Then coldly, "You're no better than me. You lie just like I do." Click. I stood there in the kitchen listening to the dead dial tone, the screen on my phone blurred with tears. I looked over at Ben, who was sitting on the couch smiling at something on TV. He had no idea about the $27,000, about the drugs, about the storm that was about to rip our marriage apart. The look on Ben's face when he found the transfer receipts. I'd never seen heartbreak so quiet. He didn't yell, he just asked, "How much?" And I couldn't answer. The tension in the house became unbearable. Ben started asking questions. "Did Jamie ever pay you back? When's the last time you saw him? Are you still helping him?" Each time I lied, not because I wanted to, but because the truth would break us. I kept hoping Jamie would show up, clean with a plan. But what showed up instead was Ben's bank statement. Ben rarely checked the business account. It was his backup emergency fund, quiet, untouched, until one night he opened it to schedule a payment. "Rachel, can you come here?" I froze in the hallway. "Did you move any money from this?" I walked slowly to his side, heart pounding. A while back, for Jamie's tuition, I told you." "Rachel, this says $27,000. He looked at me, eyes wide, mouth barely moving. "Tell me that's a mistake." I tried to speak, but it all collapsed. "I was going to replace it." "With what?" "I thought he was in school. I thought I was helping. Then it got out of control." "So you stole from me?" The word "stole" sliced straight through my chest. "You lied, repeatedly. You went into my account. You let him drain us." "I didn't let him. He manipulated me." "No, Rachel. He used you and you let him, and now I'm the one paying for it." Ben didn't yell. He didn't throw anything. He just walked out. No suitcase, no phone, just grabbed his keys and disappeared into the night. I stood in the kitchen trembling. Everything I built, my marriage, my home, my peace, was crumbling like ash in my hands. I stayed up all night waiting for Ben to come back. He didn't. Instead, I got a call from Jamie's number. I almost didn't answer. "Rachel, don't. Just don't. I'm sorry. You ruined everything. I didn't mean to. You never mean to, you just do. I need help." For the first time in my life, I said something I never imagined I would. "I can't help you anymore, Jamie. You have to go to rehab or don't. But you're not dragging me with you." Silence, then softly. "I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did." Click. Ben came home the next morning. He didn't say much, just sat at the table drinking coffee. When I walked in, he looked at me like I was a stranger. "I changed all the passwords. You're off the account." I nodded. "Okay. If I ever catch you lying to me again, we're done." I nodded again. The only thing louder than his words, "Canto conmigo," was the silence between them. A week later, I got a call from the ER. Jamie had overdosed in a parking lot, barely survived. They found him unconscious beside a dumpster, a needle still in his arm. I sat in the hospital room beside him, watched him breathe through a ventilator, and felt nothing but exhaustion. The attending doctor pulled me aside. "Your brother has a chance. There's a spot in a long-term rehab facility, but he needs someone to vouch for him emotionally and financially." I stood in the hallway. Ben's voice echoed in my mind. "You're off the account." "How much?" $14,000 for initial entry. I looked at the paper, then back at the room. Jamie had never looked so small. I went home and told Ben everything, every transfer, every lie, even the rehab request. Ben listened in silence. Then he walked over to his desk and pulled out his checkbook. "I'm not doing this for Jamie. I know. I'm doing this for you because you've carried him your whole life. and it's time to let go. Jamie was admitted to rehab 3 days later. He never thanked Ben, but he left me a note before being transferred. I wish I'd been worth it. I'm sorry I wasn't. I'll try to be now. I folded it up, placed it in a drawer, and didn't open it again. Ben and I are rebuilding. It's not perfect. Some days feel like walking on glass, but we're honest now, even when it hurts. And that's more than we had before. When my mother-in-law stood up in front of the whole family and called me a thief, I didn't cry. I just said, I already paid the price, with interest. The truth eventually came out. Not because I wanted it to, but because whispers have wings. Ben's mother found out first, then his sister, then everyone. At our niece's birthday dinner, my mother-in-law stood up, wine glass in hand, and said, "To Rachel, who knows how to take money when she wants it." Ben stood up before I could. "Mom, sit down." But it was too late. The room had already turned to me. I wanted to shrink into the carpet. I'd been their golden daughter-in-law. Now I was the secret no one could stop talking about. One cousin even whispered, "Rick, she stole from Ben, can you imagine?" I didn't respond. I just looked at Ben, who silently reached for my hand under the table. That moment, small as it was, meant more than any apology. Jamie stayed in rehab for 6 weeks, then 8, then 12. I visited twice. The first time he was cold, guarded. The second time he hugged me before I left. "I don't deserve you. Maybe not, but you're still my brother. Are you okay?" "I'm getting there." He nodded. "Tell Ben I'm sorry. Tell him yourself someday." Ben and I went to couples counseling. At first he didn't say much, but one day he looked at me and said, "I was more hurt by the lying than the money. I know, but I also know you didn't do it for yourself. I did it for a version of Jamie that doesn't exist anymore." Months passed. One morning I opened the mailbox and found a thick envelope from the rehab center. Inside was a letter from Jamie. "Rachel, I'm 4 months clean today. They made me write a list of people I've hurt. You're at the top. Not because of what I did with the money, but because you believed in me when I didn't deserve it. I want to earn that belief back. I'm enrolling in a GED program, starting over. I know I may never fix what I broke, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying." I cried on the front steps, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't out of guilt. It was relief. That night I told Ben about the letter. He listened quietly, then said, "Tell him, good luck, and to stay away from our accounts." I laughed. He laughed too. It wasn't a full repair, but it was a beginning. Weeks later, a small package arrived. No return address. Inside was a check for $900 and a note. "First repayment, 1 step at a time." Jamie Ben looked at it, then at me. "We're keeping it. Even if it's not enough, it's enough to mean something." Looking back, I wish I'd said no earlier. I wish I hadn't believed love meant saving people from themselves. But I also know this: betrayal doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from desperation, addiction, and fear. And healing, isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet forgiveness over coffee. Sometimes it's a $900 check. And sometimes it's just a hand held under a table full of judging eyes. If you've ever trusted someone too much, if you've ever given everything and lost yourself in the process, you're not alone. Just don't forget, you can forgive others. But don't forget to forgive yourself too.